2 weeks ago, Eric had his bed turned lengthwise. The bullets came in right through here, so they would have ripped right through his body. Instead, they missed him by about 10 inches. That young girl was only 3 years old when this vehicle came crashing through her apartment complex. Local historians say that this post office has moved at least 5 times throughout the city until it finally settled here in the mid-1920s. Since then, the United States Post Office has tried closing it down several times, claiming that it was an unsafe structure and that it wasn't making any money. The city of Firebaugh provides all these irrigation pipes you see for free. Also water and a farm advisor to make sure everything grows properly. Tea Party members believe in limited government, limited taxes, and free market. But what they're having trouble finding is someone to elect to implement those ideas. SoCal Edison crews can't simply drive back into many of these remote areas. They have to walk. And as you can see, that can be pretty challenging. And once they get to the power line they're looking for, chances are it might not be the one that's down. That's right, Jane. We got out here around 5:45 when I rolled up onto the scene. Flames sky high shooting out, and you can see the damage right now if you want to take a quick look. I know you're just taking live shots, but you can see that fire has been contained. Just smoke bellowing out. It's not as great amount of smoke as it was earlier. I do have a witness, a resident that lives across the field. Ma'am, if you could, your name and kind of what you felt around 5:30 this morning. You got here before the fire department. What were you thinking? You saw this house on fire. You said you're a father yourself. What were you thinking as you ran in there?
You know, my dad's a cop, my brother's a cop. Just kind of grew up to try to help out if we could.
After barreling 2,200 feet below the earth, a special piece of equipment provided an unbelievable first glimpse of life for 33 trapped Chilean miners.
It's pretty exciting knowing that our equipment may help in the complete rescue of these guys.
Jim Lozano of Aries Central California Video in Fresno designed the camera that reassured families their loved ones were safe after a mine collapsed on August 5th. A written message was attached to the camera when it returned to the surface, telling rescuers all the miners were alive. Lozano is holding the exact same model that was lowered into the ground. Most people purchase these for what? What do they use these for?
It's going to be water wells, boreholes, shallow oil and gas, coal bed methane.
And rescues. One of the design flaws with older cameras that were lowered into holes is that you only had a downward view. Yes, that's my feet right there. But with these new dual view cameras, you can see what's around you. Lozano was negotiating a deal to sell the Chilean mining company his product months ago. He says this disaster sped up the process. The company finished assembling the camera, cables, and other accessories in one day to the tune of $20,000. This video here shows the device being lowered into the ground.
They went through 2,200 feet, 700 meters, but this camera has a capability to descend to 5,000 feet deep if necessary.
With this remote control, the user has the ability to focus, zoom, and adjust the lighting on any object in its view.
There's only a handful of manufacturers making this type of equipment.
Rescuers say the miners could be stuck underground for up to 4 months before they are freed. Lozano is happy this technology was available to give both miners and their families hope.
Action News reporter John Thomas-Kobos is live near the scene of that shooting with the home decorating decision that likely saved that teenager's life. John Thomas?
Warren, the shooting took place in the backyard of this house right over here, but next to it, the Osmonds, they were asleep. They told me they could not believe that the shots were so close to hurting someone they loved.
You can see 4 holes there.
5 bullets fired by Clovis police entered Bexy Osmond's home early Monday morning.
My son's bed is right across here like this, and thank God he had just redid his room.
Shortly before 1 a.m., officers responded to a domestic dispute involving 37-year-old Kevin Hill and his estranged wife. Police say Hill had a shotgun to her head in the couple's backyard. Detectives say Hill refused to lower his weapon, even threatening police. That's when he was shot in his right arm.
When you're in this situation and you hear gunshots in your home and you know your kids are in the other rooms, the first thing is, my God, are my kids alive?
Hours after detectives had finished gathering evidence inside the home, Osmond found this bullet on her son Eric's bed. 2 weeks ago, Eric had his bed turned lengthwise. The bullets came in right through here, so they would have ripped right through his body. Instead, they missed him by about 10 inches.
I just think to myself, my son could be dead right now.
Investigators cut out the wall to remove the bullets, but this one through the window traveled the greatest distance. It went through a shoebox in Eric's closet, shredded this towel in his mother's closet, and finally passed through the outer wall of the master bathroom.
They found this shell on the ground here.
So it just kind of dropped out of the back here.
And that was it, yeah.
We spoke to Hill's wife, but she did not want to talk on camera. She told me she is filing for divorce and is also seeking a restraining order against her husband. Hill faces several assault and weapons charges. As for the Osmonds, they tell me that they were considering moving before this even happened, but now they say they are most likely going to get out of here. In the small town of Kauai, about 500 people are tucked quietly between the foothills of the Sequoia. In the blink of an eye, drivers could easily miss what's believed to be the longest-running post office in the United States.
Well, at least they find our little community a pleasant.
However, because of a drop in revenue, the United States Post Office has decided to shut it down.
They were just waiting, I believe, for my contract to finish up before announcing that.
Post mistress Sandra Norris's 3-year contract is up at the end of the month. She's not renewing it for personal reasons, but says she will deeply miss the day-to-day interactions and handing out mail from these antique lock boxes.
You become familiar with the names on each box, and then you become familiar with the faces that go with the name.
Local historians say that this post office has moved at least 5 times throughout the city until it finally settled here in the mid-1920s. Since then, the United States Post Office has tried closing it down several times, claiming that it was an unsafe structure and that it wasn't making any money. But the post office survived. Currently, it is making some money through stamp sales, money orders, and box rentals.
And it just makes a really nice break in the middle of the day to either walk down or drive down with the dog and get the mail, say hi to whoever's here.
That's why most people come here, squeezing into this little 10 by 12-foot space, and why so many are willing to fight to keep it open. Currently, their hopes lie with Valley Congressman Devin Nunes, whose office tells Action News USPS could reverse its decision to close this building before the Friday deadline.